Hi, this is Lester Langdon. We're here at StopRealEstateSnakes.com, and we're going to talk about real estate, but we're not going to try to sell any. We're often involved with some unexpected and unusual situations, and we want to know what the main underlying issues are. Pardon me if I've got notes here, so you have to excuse me while I refer them sometimes. We really enjoy helping other people on this phone call. So if you have a comment, you can put it in the comments section, or you may ask to uh, come on the screen with us, or if you want, you can turn your camera off, and we'll just listen to your audio. And you can tell us what your problem is. We don't mention any specific addresses or any specific names. Just tell us about your situation. Maybe we can answer some of your questions. We may have to refer you back to your attorney or to your tax accountant. If you've got a realtor and you're in a transaction, we don't want to interrupt that either. So we want to know who, what, when, where, and why. And just off the, if you want to know why we call it StopRealEstateSnakes.com, it's because there's always a snake in the woodpile, so to speak. We're not talking about people necessarily specifically, but usually it's a bureaucratic issue. It's a big organization, and it's got some new rules, new policies. New employee wants to make sure that their rear end is covered. We've got to deal with institutions, agencies, associations, taxing jurisdictions, management districts, historic districts, and there's maybe 20, 21 people in a transaction: buyers, sellers, buyers agents, sellers agents, buyers brokers, sellers brokers, building inspectors, title companies, uh, bug inspectors, mold inspectors, environmental consultants, in the event that there needs to be an environmental study done. Surveyors, you may have a 1031 tax deferred exchange, third party intermediary involved. You may have a commercial mortgage broker or a residential mortgage broker, a property manager, an owners association, a residential appraiser, a commercial appraiser, a commercial lender, an insurance agent, and maybe even some attorneys. If you're going to have an attorney, make sure they understand real estate. There's about 150 forms that real estate agents and brokers have to know and understand so that they can answer your questions. 72 forms at the Texas Association of Realtors, 21 forms at the Houston Association of Realtors, 32 forms at the Texas Real Estate Commission, and 34 forms at the National Association of Realtors. And then, of course, you've got all kinds of contracts, addendums, policies that are created by lenders, even, and title companies have their forms. So there's really big news in the real estate industry going on. There's in various states there are class action lawsuits whereby homeowners as plaintiffs are suing the real estate brokerage firms such as Berkshire Hathaway, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, Remax, and others. In Texas, which there's some brokerage firms getting sued. Some of the local real estate associations, such as the Seattle, have already broken ties with the National Association of Realtors. The president of the National Association of Realtors has resigned. So some of the settlements have already happened. They're in the billions of dollars. The 29 defendants were accused of colluding to artificially inflate real estate brokerage commissions. And of course, the main issue of the complaint is that realtors, their cooperative compensation rules require that brokers make a blanket offer to compensate buyers' brokers in order to list with the multiple listing service, which is not negotiable by buyers or buyers who are acting as buyers agents. If that's in the MLS, I can't call up and say, gee, can you lower or increase your real estate commissions? It's against the rules. So the complainant says that the anti-competitive pressures of the National Association of Realtors is pushed by defendants to impose charges on home sellers beyond cooperative competitive thresholds. And this hurts competition and it stops innovative alternatives. Let me read this here. It says the complainant says the anti-competitive measures of the NAR pushes defendants to impose charges on home sellers beyond competitive thresholds. Complainant says there are three illogical, harmful, and anti-competitive effects. Requiring sellers to overcharges. Let's see, requiring sellers to pay charges for services provided by buyer's broker to the buyer. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, maintaining, fixing, and stabilizing buyer broker compensation at levels that would not exist in a competitive market. Well, of course, they've got to say that. And promoting, steering, and action that hinders innovation and entry by new, lower-cost real estate brokerage service providers. And of course, the plaintiffs are asking for damages and the jury trial. So what should we also complain about the hundreds of millions of dollars that the attorney will make as a result of the settlements and jury awards? How much money will the attorneys make? They'll make hundreds of millions of dollars. So how much does the average realtor make in a year? Probably about $35,000 a year, maybe $30,000, maybe $35,000 a year. And of course, there are several reasons. A lot of agents just work part-time. Some of them have a lack of focus. They really don't know what they're doing or where they're going or where they should go. They move from niche to niche without any consistency. And of course, they may need some marketing expertise. They just may not know how to promote their services. They just want to work with friends and family and find out, well, that's got an end to it somewhere. They don't know how to target prospective clients. So they also could be wasting time working with buyers who are not serious to buy a home or a commercial property. Agents make money on one out of only 4 buyers that they work with. So if they work with 4 buyers, only one of them is going to actually make any real estate commissions happen, meaning that 3 of 4 buyers contact a realtor but don't sign a contract to buy or sell anything. However, the buyer may find another realtor to buy a home. So realtors should use their time better. Of course, many realtors will begin to use a buyer's agreement. A lot of buyers are going to say, a lot of buyers, agents, and brokers are going to say, well, we want you to sign this. And then if the broker can't get their predetermined commission from the listing broker or the seller, then the buyer will have to pay the remaining out of their pocket. This means that if the buyer broker does not get 2.5% of the sales price at the close of the deal, the buyer will pay the remainder. The commercial contract for the the commercial contract for the Texas Association of Realtors currently has language in it that says that it allows the buyer and the seller to negotiate the amount of sales commissions paid to the brokers and the agents. So this is usually put in the contract as how much I'm going to make. So I usually need to have an agreement with my buyer client in advance to say that if I'm expecting to make 2.5% and they only pay 1.5%, then my buyer client's going to have to make up the difference. He's going to have to take 1% out of his pocket and give it to me. Of course, they're not going to go for that. So they're going to try to find a Walmart real estate broker. They're going to try and find a real estate agent or a broker who really didn't know what they're doing. So moving on. So it's very likely that the real estate, I should say the residential sales contract will also come to look like the commercial contract, whereby the real estate commission can be negotiated. And so the buyer and seller of a home will therefore put in the real estate commissions to be paid to the what they call the principal broker and the cooperating broker. That means the principal broker, usually meaning the listing agent, and the cooperating broker being the buyer's broker, trying to help them buy the house. So this will cause more home buyers and prospective tenants to be more careful and judicious when choosing a buyer's broker and an agent. Of course, when I say tenant, I mean it's also negotiable in a leasing contract. So we're going to have to get our commitment from our tenants and from our buyers when we first meet them. And of course, they're going to try to do some shopping. They're going to try to find a broker or an agent that doesn't make them sign anything. So, they're going to shop for brokers that do not require a signed agreement. I may also shop to find a lesser expensive buyer broker or buyer agent. I currently require a buyer agreement to give me advance permission to represent the buyer client. I mean, how can you represent somebody without their written permission? However, as of yet, I don't put in the minimum required sales commission. But I am more inclined to step away from communication with that buyer who may not seem loyal to my services. You get what you pay for. So those things are happening right now in the brokerage industry. Oops, I forgot to tell you. We're at the Poodle Ranch. And this young thing here is one of the tenants of the Poodle Ranch. Every time they lick me on the chin, I laugh. I think it's so funny. So, and by the way, Tino, that was on our show last week, needed one more point and went to a dog show last Monday and got their last point. So Tino is now a champion poodle. So, but this is not Tino, same color. So this is Lester Langdon at StopRealEstateSnakes.com. If you want to get in touch with me, you can go to, you can come back next Monday and be in the comments section or ask to ask a question on our live stream. Or you can go to Houstonius.com. That's HoustonIUS.com. And my phone number's on there. And come back and ask a question. Thanks a lot. Bye.